Dryden Mitchell from Alien Ant Farm going to be in the studio in just a moment. Let's bring him in, Rob. Of course, the most famous, well-known song from Alien Ant Farm playing in the background right now, which is the Michael Jackson cover. What's up, my man? How are you, bud?
Good.
Does it drive you crazy that this was like the song that the band is absolutely known for?
Does it drive me crazy?
Yeah, I mean, like I guess not crazy, but do you think to yourself, man, I wish that maybe we had released that like third or fourth or something, you know?
It was second. You know what? DreamWorks put it out kind of unbeknownst to us.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, we ultimately we recorded it. We knew what we were doing. You know? We all were like scratching our heads. Not to say I didn't know how like big it might have gotten, but I think we all were kind of looking at each other like, this is going to be a pretty big song. You know, it just kind of felt that way, and everyone, all friends and people around us, you know, kind of felt that it was. And I think I remember we were touring in Germany, and my friend at home, because I live in Southern California, and, you know, K-Rock out there was playing our single Movies, and he's a friend of mine said, you know, how are you doing kind of thing. And said, yeah, your song made it to #1 on Furious 5 at 9 kind of thing, which every station has their
it's like whatever the most requested song or the hottest song.
Exactly.
Right.
I said, oh, wow, Movies is doing great. And he said, no, Smooth Criminal. And I just thought, oh, and I knew immediately what had happened. DreamWorks just said, let's abandon ship kind of on Movies. Yeah. And it done quite well. The album was like, I think gold or close to gold. It was going gold as Smooth Criminal was released. And I was more than happy with just the way that things were going, and wanted to be one of those bands that kind of had a record that did reasonably well, and then a second that kind of build in that way, you know. And then once I knew Smooth Criminal was released, it was weird. Yeah, I was kind of bummed out for a brief minute.
It almost kind of screwed you guys over in a way. That was huge. But then everyone goes, "What are they coming to the table with? Is it just going to be covered?" You know?
Well, you know what? It did provide such a huge podium for us to stand on, and we, you know, the band is pretty real and studied musicians, and it's like, you know, I had a feeling of a period there where I didn't want to play it or something like that, but I think it's kind of come full circle. The song just kind of like makes people happy, you know. So
the video was great too. Do you remember that video, Dieter? It was just, I mean, it looked to be done on a shoestring budget, and it was just like
it was really like one of the most expensive videos ever made for that time.
Really?
Yeah, Robin Leach did his whole lifestyles like most expensive videos, and that was like #2 or something like that.
Wasn't it just like in front of a house? Like
there was just a lot of weird. There was just a lot of.
It just seemed like we
had built a whole set where the sidewalks like lighting up. You know, there was a lot of stuff going on in that video.
Yeah. So. And you are. Did Michael Jackson ever comment on that? Did he hear that? Obviously, he's dead now, but did he ever comment on that song?
He fingered my little brother, and then he really did say that he liked our version of it. Yeah.
But you never heard anything back from him directly?
He really loved the song, and we had sent him the video because the scene where the little boy is dancing, he's wearing a mask, and we didn't want to offend Michael Jackson. I mean, we were doing it.
What was the mask?
He wore that mask for failed surgeries.
You're talking the surgical mask.
Yeah.
Okay, so the little boy had that.
We were like, is he going to be bummed on that? And so he came back to us and said, well, I don't really like the mask. So that's another reason why the video was so expensive. We had already long since done the video. The director got everyone back on that street to reshoot this kid dancing without the mask.
Oh, really?
Then we sent it back to Michael Jackson. He said, you know what? I think I like it with the mask. So it was kind of really strange.
That's pretty wild. That's a good story. Alien Ant Farm is going to be at the Agora Theater and Ballroom tonight at 6 p.m. I think is when the doors open. You still live in Southern California? Where you live now?
I live in Huntington Beach.
Okay, all right. So you upgraded from Riverside.
Hence the floral palm tree hat.
Gotcha. Yes, I lived in Riverside for
did you?
a short while.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you grow up there? Is that where you grew up?
I grew up in Seal Beach, kind of next to Huntington, then it spent like some of my teenage years in Riverside.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I met the band, and then kind of always thought if I ever got a little bit of change or money, I'd end up back at the beach.
Yeah, it's a lot nicer on the beach than in Riverside.
Well, Riverside's got some cool spots. I think growing up there as a teen, I definitely didn't want to be there.
Sure.
But when I go back there, it's quite nice.
So you're how old are you? 38.
I'm 38 years old.
So you're the same age as me, and so it was like that Michael Jackson song. When I was a little kid, when I was like 6, Michael Jackson, maybe 8. I mean, I remember taking a trip to Washington D.C. and I wore that white glove, the Michael Jackson white glove, into a session of Congress. Where you can go up on top.
Yeah.
And everyone is looking at me like I'm some freak of nature or whatever. But
well, think of how they look at him.
Were you inspired by? I mean, were you a big fan?
Yeah, my first concert that I ever went to was Michael Jackson.
Really?
Yeah, I think about 11 years old at Dodger Stadium, and yeah, that was a trip.
Is that why did you decide to get into music? Was it an early experience?
It wasn't because of
like
Michael
that?
Jackson or anything, no. But he definitely, he's a badass for sure.
What was it that made you decide that this is what you wanted to do?
Music, I think, my dad just played guitar really well, and he was a singer, songwriter. He played clubs and stuff, but I think, family functions or, when friends would come over and we'd have like parties or something, my dad would play guitar and I could see it change a room. Mm-hmm. From stiff people being around a room, just kind of not. And then once he'd start playing, it'd kind of loosen up the room. And I remember how powerful that seemed to me. It wasn't even the music. It was the fact that he was changing something in the environment. And I thought, wow, this is kind of something I want to do.
That's interesting. I've never heard that. I've heard people that are just really into music. I've heard guys that are like, well, I just wanted to get laid, so I figured I'd join a band or whatever.
Yeah.
And
you still have to have game to get laid, though. That's what some ding dongs don't realize. You know what I mean?
So girls
you can't just
don't
be in a band.
Throw themselves at guys in band. I'm not in a band. I have no musical talent. This is how I envision it. The girls are just waiting for you.
I've never experienced that. I mean, I think I don't know what I can and can't say on the air right now. I'm used to. I listen to Howard Stern religiously, so I feel like
Well, don't drop an F-bomb or anything.
I know.
But,
well, I'll just. Yeah, you like I said, you can't. Maybe some bands just get lucky like that.
Yeah.
I'm not the worst looking guy in the world, but
Come on, you've scored a lot of chicks throughout your life.
I'm in the high hundreds, probably
not
like 800 or something like that. Yeah.
Are you really?
Probably
800 chicks.
Probably.
Wow. That is insane. I mean, you're not a bad-looking guy. I'm completely straight, but
I didn't even tell you though.
That's
That's actually about 600 dudes and 200 girls.
But I mean, it must be so much. Like, look at me. I'm not a good-looking guy. I'm not the best-looking guy. I'm not hideously ugly. But it's made it so much easier being on the radio.
Well, I think that H on your hat and shirt stands for hot, not Hurley.
So 800. Are you really 800?
A few hundred. Let's go over. Yeah, this has been hundreds.
How old were you the first time that you got laid?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't know. Average age, probably 16.
15, 16 years old. Yeah.
I would think I was listening to the Ramones for the first time I got laid.
The first time you had sex,
Sheena is a punk rocker.
Is it weird that you remember that actually?
It was so awkward, It was weird, and then I had to leave my door open so my parents know what was going on. But we had a boat, so we'd say, "Oh, we're gonna go on a walk," and then we'd go in like under the cover of the boat and kind of get in the bow of the boat, and that was.
And that's where you did.
That was like my experience for a few months.
My mom would not allow me. I was 15. My mom would not allow me to lock the door to my bedroom.
Exactly.
But the girl that I was seeing, I guess girlfriend or whatever. Was in my bedroom, and this is back in the day. Like, I had a big typewriter, and this friggin' thing weighed like 50 pounds. I don't know how much this thing weighed. So I put the typewriter in front of the door. I figured, I won't lock the door. I'll just put this typewriter
door
in
jam.
there. Right. So my mom would, open the door and you'd be pushing up. What are you doing? Mom, oops, I just left the typewriter there.
Yeah, we were writing a little bit.
Yeah, I was just studying, Mom. We're writing our report in here. Yeah, it's due in the morning, so please leave me alone.
Yeah, you were writing a book cocky.
So you grow up, or when you're younger you're teenager, you get into Riverside somehow, and that's how you meet the guys in the band.
Yeah.
Where do you go to school with them, or how do you meet these guys?
Just kind of like there was a bit of a music scene out there that was actually kind of cool. It was more than, it's funny, like where I live now, there's really no scene in Orange County like there was out there, and just in small circles. I was kind of like singing folk music and playing in cafes and stuff. I was a little bit of a hippie back then, and I really gelled with our drummer Mike, and we were always doing things, and him and our guitar player were in like the bigger band, one of the bigger bands in our area, and they decided they wanted to do something different and kind of brought me along to see if that would work. And I think we kind of just thought, let's pick what we thought of to be the better musicians in our area and start this other band. We were going to call it, I think at the time, Masters of the Universe, and then Alien Ant Farm came across, and we're like, oh, that's kind of
Who came up with that name?
Our guitar player. It was just a kind of a tongue-in-cheek idea of, what if aliens came and made all of us and went away to watch us thrive or fail? Kind of like a kid has an ant farm. Maybe the world is like a giant ant farm for aliens.
Yeah, they're looking at us as we.
Yeah, and it's kind of a cool little theory, and it was never meant to be so like deep thoughted, know. But and I just liked the way Alien Ant Farm sounded kind of cool to me.
Now you guys have had people. The original members have come. They've gone.
Oh yeah, we've done a lot of stuff like that.
So. What is it? Why is it? Is it because it's people start fighting? Is it because financial constraints? I mean, I'm guessing no one has become multimillionaires from
not
this
multimillionaire, but I mean, I live upper middle class in Huntington Beach. That's kind of I'm doing all right. It's still like,
but it's
tough,
man.
It's all of what you said. You know what I mean? It's like being, we've all done it. It's like having your brother and your wife in the same person almost, and I have so many little things I feel like I can joke about that right there, what I just said. But it's hard to be traveling with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 dudes in a small bus, or let's say a van. Right now we're in a Sprinter, and so yeah, stuff happens, and you fall out of love with each other.
What's the biggest argument that guys get into on the road usually? What is it over? Is it just can you not even pinpoint? Is it just sometimes someone just starts to annoy me and I can't even tell you what it is? It's just like, God, I don't even want to see this.
Yeah, guy. And I'd say like, alcohol it's like a huge chain around your leg or something like that, know? And that's the cause of a lot of stuff in anyone's life, you know what I mean? It's hard to handle situations when you're a little off kilter.
But every band it seems like just to be in that industry, you have to drink a lot of alcohol and or do a lot of drugs, right?
I don't know. I'm so today it's right. Actually, today I've 4 months I haven't drank any.
Really?
Yeah. So.
What happened? Why 4 months ago did you decide I'm going to be done drinking?
Yeah. Well, I've battled it. I'm one of those guys that just can't. I can't socially drink, and I have to drink till it's kind of gone, type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I'm not a violent person, because look at me, I'm not like some big buff dude or anything. I don't fight in that regard, but I just say stuff that's alarmingly
mean,
brutal. Yeah, and it was just time. It was kind of, I have a 10-month-old daughter, and I have a girl that I love, and just saw this kind of like slipping through my fingers, and it's like. Part of my life was extremely happy, writing music and stuff, and that part was not at all happy, and that's how I felt about it. I wanted, whether we broke up or stayed together, I wanted to be sober through it, not wake up in a year and go, what happened? How did that? I don't know. Right. And that just seemed like a pretty just a dumb cop out.
Some people get like when I get drunk, I'm sort of the same way as you, where it's difficult for me if I go. Once I get over that hump of if I have 2 drinks, it's on. It's like, all right, we're drinking until we're not waking up in the morning. I have no off switch, but thankfully I'm a friendly drunk. I'm sort of a shy, introverted guy off the air.
If I could do what you do, then I don't know that I'd really have a problem.
But some people, like our old phone screener. He was the kind of guy that would drink, and he became an angry drunk, and he would things would piss him off, or he'd want to pick a fight with someone, or whatever.
It sounds like I could fit right into screening your calls now.
Well, if the whole band thing doesn't work out, job open for you, as long you won't be able to afford upper middle class at the beach any longer.
Yeah, well, I'm struggling upper middle class,
but plenty of airplay for whatever project you want to put on the air, I suppose.
Yeah, a starving upper middle class.
So you quit drinking 4 months ago. Has it been? Did you go to any sort of AA, or did you just decide yourself to quit?
I'd done like some AA stuff like years and years ago, and I will never claim to say, oh, I know what that's all about, but I know a little bit of what it's about, and I had gone on this little break that I'm taking right now, and maybe it's a break for the rest of my life. But I did go to some meetings with friends, but I don't use it as my thing. I just went and thought. I feel like when I wake up, I know I'm not going to drink that day, and that's enough for me. Like some of people in AA try and, I don't know, it's a little preachy for me, and they say I've been told, oh, well, you need to do more, you need to work on this, or you need to work on that, and I just think, well, I'm not drinking right now,
and that's enough.
That's what's working.
Right.
Like
now,
I don't know that I need to do that.
Did you just wake up 4 months ago and say I'm going to quit cold turkey, or was it? Did you have some sort of running down the street naked, yelling at neighbors incident or something?
No, it was nothing too tragic, nothing too. There's been plenty of moments where I should have quit from something like that, but no, it was just a little bit of a.
So your girlfriend, was she happy then? Or you tell her, you say, I'm not going to drink anymore?
No, like our problems are still there. Now, like it just said, like now I'm here to kind of deal with them. So it's it is what it is. I'm just trying to be not better, just trying to be like myself. Because when I drink, I'm not myself.
Mm-hmm. And you have a 10-month-old.
10-month-old,
and I have your only child.
I have a baby on the way.
Oh wow, another one already. They're keeping busy.
I'm spraying those guts.
These are your first 2 kids, or do you have any other kids?
Well, I told you like hundreds of girls.
Right.
I mean, I have
50 kids out there.
I have 50 kids.
So this is, as far as you know, these are your first.
These are my kids. Those are my only kids.
Your only kids. And how long have you been together with this girl?
4 years.
So it's been a while. Yeah. So you didn't just knock her up and
we've been hanging out.
That's good.
We've been going to picnics and.
How'd you meet her? Did you come to a show, or did you meet her some other way, or how did you?
I met her in a really nice restaurant. She was serving wine and at a little wine bar,
and you used this game that you say that you have to pick her up.
No, I didn't use any game. I just went across the street to another place, and she followed me, and that was it.
And in 4 years, and it's still going strong.
Yeah.
And you say that every now and then you have problems with her. What are the problems you have most of the time?
If I can't get erect, I'll just like electrical tape a popsicle stick to it, and then that's no like problem. No more problems.
But after 4 years, I just watched this documentary. It was kind of interesting. It wasn't the best documentary, but it was about it was a wedding videographer. Uh-huh. And he went back. He's been doing it like for 15 years or whatever. And he went back 15 years later to interview these people whose weddings he had videotaped. That sounds
like a really cool idea.
And the almost universal thing that every couple said, it was amazing. And I don't have any kids. They all said, our marriage was great. We got along just fine. And then we had kids. And that's when things got awful. That happened with you?
I feel like I don't know that I was in love with this person, and I feel like this child is making me fall in love with well, ultimately the child, but the woman too. So I think it can have other effects.
As long as she thinks that way about you too, so she didn't squirt out the kid and go, I think I hate this guy.
That's very possible too, But you see me, I'm freaking awesome.
Well, the hat, I mean, come on, of course. Alien Ant Farm is going to be at the Agora Theater and Ballroom. The doors, I believe, open up at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we
tonight.
got 2 bands with us on this tour that we're doing. One called H2NY, some guys from England, and a band called Kaleido from Detroit. And should be cool.
Is it, how many of the original guys are still, do you have now as of today?
For Ant Farm?
Yeah.
We only, our bass player isn't with us.
Okay.
So it's a guitar, me, and drums, all originals. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
bass play, like, who cares about
when
bass
some of these guys, screw them. When a guy leaves the band and then they come back, it seems like.
We've had that before. Like, yeah.
Is it weird when you bring the guy back into the fold?
No, not really. I think, it just depends on what it was, I don't think that the older we get as well, we love each other, and it takes a little time, maybe separation to kind of clear the air, and then you see someone, you want to hug them, and we've been through a lot, man. I broke my neck in a bus crash and on tour in Spain with these guys, went through my recovery. Just, we've gone through some gnarly stuff that just like, oh, F you, I'm out of here, is not going to be the end of our relationship together.
This bus crash in Spain, the driver was actually killed in this crash, right?
Mm-hmm.
This makes me nervous. We have a bunch of affiliate stations, and I was going to get like this big, like RV, not quite a tour bus because we don't need to sleep a bunch of people, but like the biggest RV that they make. And I go, that would be sweet. We'll put the cameras in there for RMGTV. We'll have a whole thing set up so we can just go to these different stations, plug in, and be able to broadcast the show. Because every time you go to an affiliate station, they have like one microphone and nothing. The computers don't work and that kind of stuff. But it makes me nervous hearing stories like this because you trust in some dude to drive you around.
Right.
And, I mean, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And what happened in Spain? How did this happen? Did you guys go off the road? Did you collide with someone else?
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, we hit the back of a semi truck going probably 70+ miles an hour.
Was the semi truck stopped?
Yeah, it was stopped, and it was just like hitting a wall.
Why did it stop? Was it stopped on the highway?
I think it was kind of like half on the road, kind of pulled over.
Yeah, like it was broken down. Or something?
I guess and we were in a British bus, so he was on the right side to get pummeled. Our driver, that is.
Oh my god!
So, because we were in Spain, the roads are like they are here. So he was kind of on the wrong. He was in the passenger side driving, basically.
Right.
So
he
was right in line to get hurt. Really badly.
I've driven in Spain myself, and I was there, and I remember I rented a car and I drove from one place in Spain to another, and I don't speak any Spanish, and immediately
means no in Spanish.
Immediately within like 30 seconds of they give you the car and you pull out of the little garage and everything is. We're so used to the way our intersections work here and the way that everything is. 30 seconds out, I go, "Oh man, this was a mistake. What the hell am I thinking?" I mean, so you guys crash into this semi trailer, or what are you doing at the time of the crash? Are you just sitting there? Are you sleeping, or what are you?
Well, a lot of the guys were in their bunks, so there was a lot of broken ankles and legs. I was in the back lounge playing guitar. And it was like a double-decker bus kind of thing, where you could climb up the stairs and there was a lounge.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the back lounge just playing guitar. And I just got slammed to the ground. And I remember I was like completely paralyzed. I couldn't even blink my eyes. But I was fully conscious. And I remember thinking these weird thoughts. Like, first thought was like, why is it raining on the bus? Because the whole roof had ripped open and it was pouring rain.
Oh my God.
And then I had thought, well, why can't I move anything? Not even my eyelids. And then I kind of knew. I said, oh man, it was weird how like calm I got too. I just thought, wow, it's that easy to get paralyzed. I knew I was paralyzed. I thought, it's that easy? Like, I didn't even do anything. Usually you're like going to do some backflip off a roof or something.
Jump off a cliff or right.
Yeah, right. And I'm just laying there thinking, oh no. And then slowly, I started to be able to move my fingertips and my eyelids, and stuff started to come back. And I knew my neck was severely. I broke my C2, and that's not a good bone to break.
Yeah.
So I knew something was very wrong, and it was just a terrible night of just getting to that hospital, and then from Spain getting flown to London to find out what ultimately really was wrong with me. Then from London getting put into a halo brace and flown to UCLA to get my surgery, and it was just a lot of events. Just
what's going on as you're lying there and you can't move? Are people scurrying around?
Yeah, I could hear madness downstairs. I knew something was really wrong because the driver's dead, and one of my really great friends from the Czech Republic who was out with us had severe head trauma. He had basically gone through a television set.
Oh my God.
It was a weird night to say.
Does it bring back things like who was he? Tracy Morgan. Like when you see that he was involved in that crash, and one of the guys died. One of these comedians died. When you hear a story like that, does it just bring back memories of that?
Yeah, I don't know that I have like this post-traumatic anything, you know, but I deal with my injuries on a daily basis, so that's my reminder. You know, I don't really need a story to really trigger it. I have a lot of nerve damage, and so.
What about getting back on a tour bus, though?
Yeah, that was a weird one to step onto one and drive, you know, and I feel, you know how every road has like rumble strips and stuff,
right.
And I'm like, dude, are you serious? We were on a plane, and it got hit by lightning a couple of times, and it sounded like a bomb.
Yeah.
And this was like shortly after the wreck, and I'm just sitting there going, what's going on? Like, take me out if you're like, please. This is getting stupid.
I'll tell you something. That really takes a lot to be able to get back on a tour bus and let someone else drive you.
Exactly. That's a great point. You know, I feel fine doing anything myself, but like you said, to put your life in someone else's hands in that weird way, and they're not really even thinking about it. You know, I've driven for years. You know, You're safe with me. Like this cowboy, drinks on his days off, and I don't know what he does. I don't know if he's even sleeping while we're playing our shows. He might be up just jerking off in his room. I don't know.
Right. That's like the guy. Do you remember we took the trip down to Florida? We took the whole show down to Florida. Do you remember the driver that we had? We had a big RV or whatever. I remember going through those mountains, and the guy, I mean,
Was he flying?
We were flying.
He wasn't even hitting the brake around the corner.
I mean, if the speed limit was 65, we're doing 80 in a giant, and I'm like, dude, you got to be frigging kidding me.
And then not to
this
mention,
guy's just talking to me, looking over his shoulder. You know, I'm like, oh man, this is making me nervous.
Yeah, not to mention that the RV's made out of like paper mache and egg cartons.
Yes, I'm telling you, man, that made me very nervous. All right. I think I'm going to take a quick break. We'll let Dryden get set up here to play something acoustic for us. Alien Ant Farm will be at the Agora Theater and Ballroom tonight, 6 o'clock, with what other bands are playing?
A band called H2NY from England.
Okay.
And another band called Kaleido from Detroit.
And are they...
They're lame.
Nowhere near as good as Alien Ant Farm, right?
Nah, we've been having a great time. They're cool guys.
You ever played shows with people that you just can't stand? I mean, are other bands just like real dicks?
Totally.
What is
you want me to start naming all the bands?
Absolutely. Who's the biggest dick out there? Now, what normally is it just like an attitude?
Just rock star guys, yeah. Bands that we're like probably on the same level with, but somehow they think they're larger than, or I don't know. It's just really strange. We've never been those kind of guys, you know, to even from photo shoots and you've seen our videos. They're more fun than we're not trying to like front like cool dudes, you know.
Right.
And we, you know, when you come across some of those rockers in their old crusty ways, you just want to like grab a rake and just put it in their mom's eyes.
So you're not walking around in leather pants, is what you're telling me.
I've yet to queef in my leather pants.
All right. What are you guys going to play? And by the way, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
I'm Terry.
All right, Terry. Sorry about that. What are you guys going to play today?
Movies, if we could.
All right.
That'd be cool.
Sure, absolutely. Let's do it.
Sure. just the rain. I want you to be free. Don't worry about me. And just like the movies, we play out our last scene. Two can play this game. We both want power. In winter, we can taste the pain. In our short years, we come a long way to trade it bad and throw away. In our short years, we come a long way to trade it bad and throw away. I want you to be free. Don't worry about me. And just like the movies, we play out our last scene. You won't cry, I won't scream. In our short years, we come a long way to trade it bad and throw away. And if we make a little space, a science fiction showcase, in our short film, a love disgrace, dream a scene to brighten face. In our short years, we come a long way to trade it bad, just to throw it away. And I want you to be free. Don't worry about me. And just like the movies, we play out our last scene. And you won't cry, and I won't scream.
Yeah. Alien Ant Farm. Let me ask you a question, Dieter. Did you fart halfway through that
I
song?
smell it too.
Do you smell
Yeah.
that? I mean, someone.
He did.
Someone
I thought I heard it
dropped
over the mic.
this.
I was trying to add to the music.
Maybe it was my stinky vocals.
I mean, my God.
Kind of
wow.
reeky.
Wow.
Clam.
Woo! Oh man. Let me ask you before you guys go. I was just thinking about this as you're playing that song, and the Smooth Criminal, the Michael Jackson cover that you guys did. Did you guys make a lot less money on that? Did you have to pay Michael Jackson like royalties on all of those?
Yeah, of
all
course.
those?
You know,
Yeah.
I sometimes think that's when you were asking me earlier if I was like regretful of doing it. I've never been really regretful of doing it. I've always just been bummed that we didn't get the residuals from that. I mean, geez, like comparatively to what he made, it's nothing. But that song, I'm sure, generated him a lot of dough as well.
Right.
I'm sure we fed every barn animal that he ever bought, you know, and bought all of his Jesus juice to get those kids drunk. Whatever we did it well.
We will have the show will be at 6:00 tonight. Alien Ant Farm at the Agora Theater and Ballroom. For tickets, call 216-881-2221. That's 216-881-2221, and your website, alienantfarm.com. Guys, I appreciate you guys
thank you.
coming in today.
That was a cool, fun interview, too.
Thank you.
You're good
Thank
at
you.
You're good at it.
I appreciate
C+,
that.
dude.
Hey, all right. Yes, C+. Maybe we'll get somewhere in this business
I got a
someday.
C- for my performance, but I can handle it.
All right, that wraps it up for us. We're done. So we will actually be live back tomorrow morning, and we'll talk to you then. It's Rover's Morning Glory. Go see Alien Ant Farm tonight. Have a great one.
Please do.
Bye.
Rover's Morning Glory.